Um, Crash says, "Hello, Wooly, stares at, and Pat versus. Some time
Hello.
ago, I was reading Pat's Twitter thread about immersive sims, and
Yeah.
someone pointed out that Fallout New Vegas was an immersive sim, but 3 wasn't, solely because New Vegas had more options. Uh, this led me to realize that this higher complexity subgenre specification is not unique. Hack and slash to character actions and shoot 'em ups to bullet hells are also subgenres based solely on complexity. While you could argue that these might just be elitist gatekeepy terms to separate genres, games of casual and hardcore, um, we're here to have some fun. So my question is can you come up with high complexity subgenres for other popular games genres by using the same naming conventions and not reusing words from the root to make it sound cooler? For example, I suggest we call a high complexity puzzle game a Brainmaster game. With
Okay.
love, from Crash. Well,
So I'm
high
going to
speed.
ignore part of the question, and I just want to point out I want to take a character that we know, the official Doctor Spaghetti, one Gianni Matrigano, Grano, who has been widely shunned for his statement that Fortnite is an immersive sim.
Change my mind. Yeah. Okay. Yo,
Uh,
you can die on those hills if you want.
That being said, yeah, no, fun genre naming conventions. Video games has the best by far because video game genres are terrible and incredibly poorly descriptive.
For
So
anyone
all
new
you have,
coming in, especially,
oh
it
yeah,
tells you nothing.
I mean Jesus, I'm gonna be playing Zone of the Enders 2
High
later this
speed
week.
robot action came to
Yeah,
mind.
and,
Yeah.
it's the only game that fucking fits that criteria. It's the
Well,
only one.
but it also requires an understanding or at least familiarity with the concept introduced by tactical espionage action.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, roguelikes and Metroidvanias certainly are just like using another title to say it's similar to that. But when you have to use descriptive adjectives, that's more fun, you know?
Like I could call Deus Ex a cyber stealth choicer if you want.
Choicer. It's not the first time where like jokes have been made about like martial arts simulators, right? A fighting game can easily become a reactive martial arts simulator
Yeah.
if it fits the right criteria. But I don't know. I would say Rez is a musical rail shooter,
Yeah.
right? You can do that.
But then you get into the video game specific problem of Rez is a musical rail shooter. However, it is unique in and of itself enough that people will instead call games similar to Rez
Res
likes.
likes. But I would also, but no, I can apply the same. I can apply musical rail shooter to Sayonara Wild Hearts as well. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
I have to say, in my opinion, for video game genres, they're terrible. So you might as well have fun with them. The only rule, the only rule that I personally have is that if I start to describe a game's genre and I sound like the Steam page with the tags, there needs to be a new genre
mhm,
created for
mhm.
this thing. And I don't care how poorly descriptive it is, because I'm going to pick some random game that's on Steam sale right now. Um, I'll take Rogue Legacy, right? Oh, it's a rogue-like Metroidvania indie action RPG. Barf. Barf. Like,
I
that's terrible. I hate that.
I could call Kirby a passive progression platformer.
You could.
Um, but I would rather just call it a suck 'em up.
Yeah, why not?
You know, and after enough time, everybody goes, "Oh yeah, that's a suck 'em up." Yeah, I know. You know, classic suck 'em up staple. Ah. Um, Teppen
Like
is not.
if I wanted to describe Rogue Legacy 2 as its own custom genre, I'd call it a randomized genealogy destruction machine.
Okay. Okay. Teppen is different, so it's like an active phase dueling card game.
Yeah.
But you gotta include that. Okay, here I guess the final boss of this is
Yeah.
get a better word than Souls like. Complex, complex fantasy, immersive, complex fantasy.
Oh. I saw somebody call earlier in the chat. They called Dark Souls a walk and block, which
Walk and block.
Which
Okay.
I actually. Well, do you
Yeah.
remember Stop and Pop third-person shooters?
Okay. Okay.
But Bloodborne and Sekiro kind
Corpse
of botched
Runner.
that.
Corpse Runner could work. That's the general gist of what's happening. There's also stat management and numbers and light narrative, but Corpse Runner is fun.
I got one. Field like.
Why
Yeah. Because they're
field?
actually all just Kingsfield games.
Okay, well,
It's a third-person field like.
if we avoid the title descriptions and the self-referencing,
Yeah.
I'm going with Corpse Runner. Suck 'em
Corpse
ups.
Runner's all right. But when I hear Corpse Runner, I think of loot games.
Yeah, well, give it time and it'll people will figure it out. Like hack and slash.
Yeah.
or
I really want to give a thumbs up to Hideo Kojima and Hideki Kamiya for innovating in the art of completely useless garbage genres.
Mhm.
That allows us to now just make them up willy-nilly. Tactical espionage action is a terrible descriptor of any video game, and so is stylish hard action.
Despite the fact that there aren't clones, I'm going to say that like Katamari is a genre.
Yeah, it's the genre of Katamari.
Mhm. Cuz even Monkey Ball, which might be the closest thing, is not close.
Katamari Damacy is the closest any game has ever become to the Cowboy Bebop description of itself as genre.
It will become its own genre, and the genre will be known.
Its name
as.
will be Katamari Damacy. Yeah.
There you go. Good question.
That is a good question.
Adam says, "Dear Dragon Punch and Crouching Neutral." About 2 months ago,
Which one do you want to be? Which one do you want to be on that?
I'm Crouching Neutral, baby.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I'm holding down back.
I'm gonna just raw super on Wake Up, and maybe it'll work if I do it twice.
No Pac-Man. Katamari is a Pac-Man like. In Pac-Man, you don't get too big to move through the corridors.
Yeah, no, that's not. Come on.
Terrible.
Come on.
About 2 months ago, I beat Code Vein for the express purpose of deleting it from my library and downloading something else.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
I downloaded Cyberpunk 2077, beat it last week to make room for RDR2, a game which my fiance is currently playing to finish a different game. Beating games to get rid of them. I feel like AAA games have the same problem. Stellar first mission, okay middle, and an end game that feels like a chore. Is this a problem with a specific type of video game, or am I just getting too old to play? No.
Yes, it's a problem with a specific type of video game, specifically the ones that you apparently buy.
I want to say that, I mean, I talked about it before, but like 7th gen brought a lot of like staples in that we have today. 4th gen brought in a lot, and 7th gen. I feel like AAA games from that 360 era are like a lot of games had a vertical slice that was all about an amazing opening cutscene, a first mission that was like higher budget than the rest of the entire game, a set
Oh
piece,
yeah,
and then after the set piece is done, the introduction of a hub world and the promise of mechanics that'll probably lead nowhere, but the promise
yeah.
of them is there. And then you just hit filler for 30 hours, and then you fucking end on a sputter, you know? That bait and switch style thing was an era. So
So I'm gonna call that because I've also recognized that, but you summarized it a lot better than I would have. That's BioShock. BioShock's first 2 hours are so incredible, and then the game gets worse and worse and worse, and then you get to the end, and it ends on a fucking fart to the
Infinite,
point where
you're saying?
no, just BioShock
Really?
one, and like to the point where I would find it to be a not very it would be a not controversial thing to say that BioShock would have been way better if they just deleted the entire final level from the game.
The final level. BioShock goes down from the start, but I did enjoy the build the like the I did enjoy some of the middle of that. But yeah, but that describes a whole lot of just forgettable third person shooters and yeah, games that just again they sell you on the vertical slice being the first 10 minutes, you know. In fact, they'll probably pack like 4 achievements into those first 10 minutes as well, so that if you're a Chivo hunter, you're going to be super excited about the prospect of getting them all fast and quickly, you know. Um it's not just you. And some of those trends are still with gaming today. So
There's a lot of games that feel they have to hit a certain hour count because of the value proposition that I brought up earlier, because people don't want to buy a $60 game and blow through it in a weekend. But instead of making a game that's so good you want to play that 20 hours over and over, many times they'll just go, well, what if we just put a bunch of levels in here? Or in Red Dead 2's case, what if we just made every single attempt you ever had to have fun a miserable fucking experience, so we could tell you every cliched fucking story we ever stole from any Western I've ever seen?